Welcome to the Prophecy Club. I am probably going to be making two programs today and also made another program with Jonathan Rose of Genesis Gold. And so you might actually get three programs posted all on the same day. So I have to tell you, I think God spoke to me here. And I think the reason he did is because it's about to happen. Topic is Strawberry Moon Prophecy. Now, before I get started. Okay, so yeah, I've been doing prophecy for 40 years, okay? And I've been through all of we're going to figure out this movement of the moon or the stars or all of that. And I gave up trying to find something in the moon or the stars that tied to some event is going to happen in Bible prophecy. So here's what happened. Yesterday afternoon, my wife says, "Hey, we might want to set our alarm because there's supposed to be some kind of a special moon tonight." Okay, didn't really impress us. And I said, "Yeah, well, what is it?" She said, "I don't know." Again, not real impressed with it. Well, she brought it up again, so finally I asked Siri. I said, "Okay, what about the moon tonight?" "Well, it's something about strawberry moon. Big deal." But she wanted to watch it, so it was coming up in the middle of the night. I set the alarm. I set the alarm on my cell phone, and I'll tell you the story. But I think God spoke to me that this one is one I better watch. And as I was getting in bed, I'll tell you the story in a second, he brought back to my memory a prophecy to Dumitru Duduman from like 35, 40 years ago, long time. And so apparently, I'm going to bring it to you. Apparently, something big is about to happen prophetically. So I'll cover it for you. Title, Strawberry Moon Prophecy. So here's the first question. I might say these are watch points. The red strawberry moon might be signaling Trump signing the Insurrection Act of 1807, might be declaring martial law and massive arrests. Yes, this weekend, June 14th. It might be the start of blood on American streets. When that happens, the devil's going to retaliate for the massive arrests. And that may be suitcase nukes, though Pastor Massey was told it's about 6 months after that. So I do not think we're about to see suitcase nukes, but I'm not going to take it off the table. Suitcase nukes, some of the people start fighting against the government. That, in my opinion, has already happened. States start withdrawing from the union. Remember that prophecy. The dollar falls, new digital currency system, and a whole bunch of prophecies I didn't even begin to list. But let me get to it here. Okay, so June 11th, 2025, there was a full strawberry moon. Now, the special full moon gets its name from the time of the year when wild strawberries begin to ripen. It doesn't actually mean that the moon turns red or even pink. So, as I said, long ago, I stopped watching the stars to fulfill Bible prophecy. Yesterday afternoon, Leslie alerted me to the strawberry moon. I don't know, probably 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock. I set my alarm on my phone to go off at 2:35 because it was supposed to be full at 2:45 in my zip code. As I was climbing into bed, the word red cloud came to my heart. I didn't hear an audible voice. Red cloud popped in my mind from one of Dimitri's prophecies. Here's that prophecy. So instead of getting in bed, I was really tired. So instead of getting in bed, I came in, turned my computer on, and I spent probably an hour going through all kinds of prophecies before I found this one. I want to show you something. I think the Lord was speaking to my heart, saying this one is tied to the strawberry moon, and it's about to happen. Now, let me explain. When we say it's time, we want to look at our wrist. We want to look at a clock, okay? But you have to understand that God's clock, day is 1,000 years, 1,000 years is a day. His clock moves a whole lot slower. But in that, he spoke to my heart about this. He basically said, this is what I felt. Go look up this prophecy. because this blood moon, this strawberry moon, it's not a joke. This one brings something. Whoa. Okay, so let's look at it. January 24, 1994, Dumitru Duduman. I dreamed I was in an American church service when the building began to move violently. Because they did not know what was happening, that kind of fits where we are right now. The people inside panicked quickly and began to run out. Now, that may also be the Great Lakes opening up down to the Gulf of Mexico. I succeeded in walking out also, but with every step I tried to take, it seemed like I was just sinking into the ground. I began to look around to find something to support myself so I could walk. Then I heard a voice say, "Look up and see the heavens." Is this talking about the strawberry moon that just took place last night? I looked up, and as far as my eye could see, all the sky was blood red. Now, you have to understand, this is the way God talks. He doesn't always tell us every little detail. He expects us to pray through, fast, to seek His face. So I said, "Lord, what does this mean? Why is the sky red?" So last night, technically, astronomically, the sky was red. The moon was red. Okay. Then I remember my father telling me that before the Great War, are we about to see Great War? Okay, now wait. What war? I don't think it's Russia, Ukraine. I can't say it's not. I don't think it's Israel, Iran. Trump just told Netanyahu he's not going to attack Iran. Okay. I think it's the blood in the streets right now, starting in Los Angeles. I remember my father telling me that before the Great War, the sky turned blood red. Let me read that again. Before the Great War, the sky turned blood red. Could that have been what God was hinting to me is about to happen? Now, I know. You're going to say, "Well, who are you? Why would God talk to you?" Well, wait a minute. Who is it that's carrying Dumitru Duduman's message? Because for 10 years, he flew all across America, east, west, north, south, speaking at churches, radio, and TV stations. And as far as I know, to this day, I'm the only one that continues to carry that message. So would he speak to me about a prophecy given to Dumitru Duduman? When was it? Here, wait. 1994. Would he speak to me about that prophecy? I think he would. Now let's go on. As I stood looking toward the sky, a cloud suddenly appeared. 3 men came out of the cloud. In other words, angels. The middle one was dressed in shiny clothes and was of great stature. He shined so brightly I couldn't look at him. The other 2, one on this right, one on his left, were prepared for war. They had weapons in their hands and they were pointed toward the inhabitants of the earth. That's the way angels come to people when it's an important message. Trembling, I asked, "Lord, what am I seeing? What does all this mean?" When the one in the middle spoke in a thunderous voice, all those around me were able to see him. "I am Jesus Christ." Now, did Jesus appear to him? Probably not. But that's the way it works. God sends his angel. This was probably Gabriel. Could have been Michael, but the angel speaks as if it is Jesus. Okay? "I'm Jesus Christ who gave my life for you. Many of those whom I gave my life for today dishonor me, living in sin and things that are wrong. The honor and glory that I deserve is not given to me. For this I have no more mercy, but will soon return in glory and honor as judge, to judge all the inhabitants of the earth. But first, I will judge those that carry the name of Christian. I will judge those that carry the name of Christian." Did you catch that? "Yet have tried to deceive me. Because of them, my name was and is dishonored and blasphemed before those that do not know me." In other words, a lot of the people that are thinking about becoming a Christian look at some of us Christians and say, "Well, if he or she is a Christian, I don't want to be a Christian." Got to be on guard for that. Now, I'm going to skip the great part. The devil is ready to begin war against the Christians, and I have allowed this. Then the 2 men beside him began to fire their weapons. A salvo of fire came out, lighting the sky, and began to burn. And one who shone brightly stood in the midst of the flames, crying out with a loud voice, saying, "Do not fear." Now, this is what I talked on Sunday. I thought it was a very important message. I'd recommend you go and watch it. Do not fear. That's the primary message that God gave me to give to the people this past Sunday. Do not fear. All those who worship me and have lived a clean life, those that have suffered here on the earth, will have joy. For I am the one who will judge all of the nationalities of the earth. I will spare no one, and will not have mercy or grace for anyone. The day when I will punish and condemn is coming. I tell these things for everyone to hear. Hard days of suffering are coming to this place and all over the whole earth. The hardships, listen carefully, the hardships will be so great that the minds of men will not be able to understand it. It will be so hard that men will kill themselves. I'll read it again. It will be so hard that men will kill themselves. I will judge through torment, pain, and suffering. I will take revenge with great harshness for all sin. The Father has allowed me to avenge my spilled blood. The other two began to fire their weapons again. By this time, a blue flame came out. I fell with my face to the ground. The one in the middle yelled, "Get up! I want to show you the judgment of the people and the wicked." But the hardest judgment will be received by the church, because they knew my word and my power, but many of them dishonored me, giving into defilement, adulteries, wickedness, and dishonored my name before men who did not know me. For this I am filled with rage, and have been given the authority to take revenge against the inhabitants of the earth, those who have dishonored me. The two that stood on either side of him began to fire again. A heavenly choir appeared and began to sing a song in the most beautiful splendor. Jesus is alive. Jesus lives. Jesus is alive. Jesus reigns. Jesus is coming in glory. Jesus is no longer Savior, but returns as judge. I began to cry. I cried with tears of joy. I was in an atmosphere of incredible beauty. Now, what's the point? What's the point? The point is, this happened at a time when there was a red sky. Stan, what do you think this is saying? I think it's saying something big, blood-wise, something either a war or like a war. Probably it's this rioting in the street right now that's going on in Los Angeles, and now started up in several other cities, and I'm about to make another program, which you do want to watch, that is saying it may start July the 14th, 2025. Let's go on. The choir continued to sing as two men with the weapons introduced themselves. The one on the right said, "I am the head of the Lord's armies, Gabriel." The one on the left said, "I am Michael, the leader of the Lord's armies." We are the Lamb's command. Wherever the Lamb goes, we accompany him. So I guess the one in the middle was Jesus. The choir continued to sing, and everything began to fade. I woke up with the words, "Jesus is no longer coming as Savior, but as Judge." Now, let me make another point. So I continued to look up red cloud, because those were the two words I got. Clouds in the Skies, 1991, Dumitru Duduman. After I prayed, I went to sleep. While I was sleeping, I dreamed someone was telling me, "Rain is coming." I looked around, but I saw no one. But suddenly, there was thunder and lightning, and a red cloud appeared. Now, red is Satan's color. I beheld another sign in heaven. Behold, a great red dragon. Okay, so red is the devil's color. But suddenly there was thunder and lightning, and a red cloud appeared, and in this midst, the hammer and sickle of communism. On the other side was another cloud, but with no unusual colors. Suddenly, an intensely bright star appeared out of the cloud. Then the red cloud began to surround the cloud with a star and tried to capture it. Immediately, a white cloud appeared, bursting forth with great thunder and lightning. When it appeared, the red cloud was dismembered. Do you understand this? So I worked up a bit of a of a graphic to try to show you what it's saying. Okay, so the red cloud began to surround the cloud with a star. So I put up a cloud with a star. I think that represents America. Immediately, a white cloud appeared, bursting forth with great thunder and lightning. Okay, so first there's a cloud with a white star. Then there's a red cloud around it representing communism. Then there is a great lightning. Okay, what's that saying? It's saying that right now, America represents the cloud with the white star. We represent what was supposed to be the nation that took the Bible to the world, the bright, glowing city on the hill that took the gospel to the world. But we have allowed communism to surround us and is in the process of destroying us. But it doesn't totally destroy America before Jesus returns with the morning star. Now, let's continue with what was said. Then the two men appeared out of the white cloud. One had a face like the sun. It was so bright I could not look at it. The other had a humble face and had a book in his hand. That would be the book of life, Gentile book of life. He opened the book and said, "Look." He began to count the blank pages of the book. There were only 3¼ empty pages. Then he said, "It won't be long. Be prepared. When these pages are filled, the grace will leave the Gentiles." In other words, the Gentile book of life will be filled. Then his attention goes to the Jewish book of life, as he was told in another dream, which I'm not covering. "Draw closer to me now more than ever and be holy, because hard times are coming." Then the man with the book said, "Look to the right." And when I looked to the right, I saw a beautiful garden filled with all kinds of flowers, but I had never seen any of these kinds of flowers before. What's the point? It's saying that America is being surrounded by communism and will be surrounded by communism until Jesus returns with the morning star. There's more. Now let's go to the next one. I shared this dream with a friend that Sunday night. That would be me. Okay, this is October 2003 when we had Michael Boldea. We put him on a speaking tour. He was speaking in Topeka, Kansas that night, and he came up and he told me about this. So I got this told me directly from Michael Boldea. Who's Michael Boldea? He is the grandson of Dumitru Duduman and was his interpreter for many years. I shared this dream with Stan that Sunday night as I happened to be speaking in his church in Topeka, Kansas. I dreamed I was kneeling by my bedside praying when I felt a presence behind me. I turned, and as a man was standing there dressed in white, his hands clasped in front of him. It was the same man I'd seen in a dream earlier. "Why didn't you say something if you were standing there?" I asked. "I would never interrupt your communication with the Father," he answered. "It was a precious thing. Take my hand. I must show you something." Now, do you think that this was delivered to Michael, from Michael directly to me, when it was delivered, because this is something important that I'm to share with the people? Do you think that it was arranged and is part of what God wants me to bring to his people? I do. As I was watching the flag flap in the wind, a red spot appeared in its center. It began to grow and spread, turning the red flag as it went. Now, by now you figured out the red spot is communism. See, that's what's going on in LA. Communism is doing its best to try to take over America right now. We are under attack from communism. This is how they overthrew Cuba. This is how the communists overthrow countries. They have rebellions. They have revolutions where they overthrow the good government, and they do it through revolutions. That's what they're trying to do in Los Angeles and other cities around the nation now. This is taking place now. That's what he's saying. This is the now. What God has given us is a heavenly, a spiritual understanding of what is happening in our nation physically. Okay? As I was watching the flag flap in the wind, a red spot appeared in its center. It began to grow and spread, turning the flag red as it went. By the way, click like, share, and subscribe. Help us get out to other people. It was like someone had spilled this red liquid in the flag's center and absorbing it. The stain continued to grow. I watched as the entire flag became saturated until finally it started to drip. To my surprise, I realized the liquid dripping from the flag was actually blood. What's this supposed to mean? I asked the man. The leaders of this nation have war on their hearts and on their lips, and soon they will have blood on their hands. The banner of war is upon this nation. Now let me just say, are you saying that Trump is trying to start a war? No, I don't think it's talking about Trump. I think Trump wants the best for this nation. But I think it is like confirmed by the other two dreams that communism is the one that wants war. Communism right now realizes that it is getting very close to the point to where it can take over America, and it doesn't stop just because it didn't happen in 1992. They come again with George Floyd riots. Every time there's an opportunity, communism tries to take over. This is simply another time. Now, that's what it's saying. Leaders, communist leaders in our nation, want to take over this nation. Let's go on. Now let's jump to the next one, 1992, Dumitru Duduman again. I dreamed I was on the shore of a river. When I looked into the water, I saw it was very dirty. I wanted to catch fish, but I couldn't because the water was so muddy. I asked myself, well, how can I catch fish from this river? There's no clean water anywhere to clean up afterwards. When I looked further up the river, here it is, I saw a large patch of water, clean water, coming. Do you know what it's talking about? Okay, look at what it's saying. Dumitru wanted to fish. Now, what does that represent? He wanted to win souls. But he couldn't win souls because there's too much muddy water. The people couldn't see the truth. That's the case right now. We don't have any people coming to Jesus because they're confused. They're going out to the ball games. There are all kinds of entertainment with TV and movies, and they're just simply not hungry. But what it's saying is there's a brief period of time, a period of clean water coming, a period when people will be able to see Jesus, and there's going to be the greatest revival in human history about to start. That's what it's saying. Is that important? You better know it is. I saw a large patch of clean water coming. When it came by me, I checked the clean water with my hand to see if it was cold. When I felt the water, a powerful ray of light came down surrounding me. What's that? Remember, I told you, August 8, 2015, Saturday night, Lord, what do you want to say for the sermon tomorrow morning? And I heard words. I said, this is the time of miracles. As the judgment hits, so will my miracles. Miracles like no one has seen, going back to Adam and Eve. You tell them, I will never leave them nor forsake them. I'm going to meet the devil inch for inch, step for step, pound for pound, everything he does, I'm going to meet him. Meaning, there's a great revival. The greatest revival in all of human history is soon to hit. I've got some news that I started to just release to you, but maybe in the next program or something. It was cold. When I felt the water, a powerful ray of light came down surrounding me. What's that? That's the time of miracles. That's when the greatest miracles, going back to Adam and Eve. No one's seen the kind of things God is about to do for this great end-time revival. That's what it's talking about. The light enabled me to see many fish. He opened the eyes of the sinners. He opened the eyes of the watchmen so that they could see that they have the power through the name of Jesus to win souls using miracles. The light enabled me to see many fish. I was surprised to see how many fish were there. When I looked up, I saw the light was coming from the moon, as in Jesus, okay? Of course, it does also tie in with these other things. It could be that the great miracle revival starts with the strawberry moon, June 11th, last night. When I looked closer, I saw a man in the moon. His face was so shiny I couldn't look long, and I looked back into the water. A voice spoke to me and said, start fishing now. Because that has to do with, probably I'll tell you tomorrow, okay? Probably. Start fishing now, because the time is very short. Soon there will be no more opportunity to fish. In other words, the mark of the beast comes out. You can't talk to any people about Jesus, you lose your head. The voice sounded so close, it frightened me. The man looked so far away, but the voice was so close. I looked up, then I heard the voice again. The man said, the ray of light that you see is my voice. It's the miracles, okay? Now, let's talk about the strawberry moon, June 10th, 2025. We're continuing with this. Is still from Dumitru. Then he said, look how many fish are before you. When I looked, I saw many more fish than before. In other words, God opened their eyes to let them see they need Jesus. When I looked, I saw many more fish than before. The man said the second time, catch them now. Fish now. Fish while you can. For in a short time the fishing shall be over. When I looked back toward the moon, all right, I may tell you, if I have time. When I looked back toward the moon, the man said a second time, catch them now, fish while you can, for in a short time the fishing shall be over. When I looked toward the moon, it had changed into a red arc. That was last night. A red arc like a rainbow. The man was holding it in his hand by the corner. He said to me, see this moon? Soon its light will go out. We know that happens about 72 hours before Armageddon. I asked, where am I? Then I woke up. Now, here's the question. Could the red strawberry moon signal Trump signing the Insurrection Act of 1807? Declaring martial law and massive arrests? You can't say it doesn't. It could. Could it start the blood on the streets of America? Could the massive arrests be the retaliation that the devil does for them, for the massive arrests? Suitcase nukes, I do not think the suitcase nukes are going to hit immediately. Pastor Massey was told about 6 months after this big event. States start withdrawing from the union. Dollar falls, new digital currency, and whole lots of things. Now, I've got 60 seconds. I don't have enough time to tell you the thing that I want to tell you, perhaps in the next program. And I will leave it there. If you want to read that, you can. But I'm going to go ahead and close. Here's some promos. We're having a prophecy, healing, and deliverance conference. Now, this is only at our small church. There's only 100 people, room for 100 people. So if you want to go, you got to go to prophecyclub.com, click on this right here. Over here on the right, see the red arrows pointing. Click on that, and it'll take you back over to this where you can register. It tells you all about it. Now, if you've been with Prophecy Club for a while, you know that these used to be an organization that we sponsored. Then Joseph Kitchen came along, so we dropped this one. But there's been a need to bring this one back. So what's the difference? This is wheat berries that you grind up and make your own homemade whole wheat bread. This is food that comes in a bucket. You just add water. Some of them you have to add boiling water, and you make your own food. So there's different kinds of food. So if you want this kind of food, you go to heavensharvest.com, heavensharvest.com. Use the promo code prophecy, get you a 10% discount. Here's some bread that I made. In my case, I lost weight, lowered my blood pressure, gives me more energy. I eat morning, slice in the morning, slice in the afternoon, or always a slice before I go play racquetball. Go check it out, josephskitchen.com.